What's up YouTube? Back with another Groove Agent video today. I thought I would do a full roundup of everything that's new in version 5. Now I've had a bit of time to really dig in and kind of get used to it. So let's get started. I mean, there's going to be a few things that I've already covered in previous videos, and I'll try and gloss over those a bit more and focus more on the stuff that I haven't looked at. So to get started, the first new feature is that they have updated the UI to be fully scalable, high DPI ready, so that's cool. One of the notable new features that I've already looked at quite a bit and you'll have seen me working with is the new browser pane here. Now you can browse for presets from your libraries or instruments, drumming styles, MIDI files, or go through your file browser. So let's pull up something maybe from the drum and bass one, Neuro Mindset. Let's have a look here. Okay, yeah, we're at 170. So it's all mapped to the instrument there, and I'll select a groove and make sure follow transport's on, and we'll play it through and you'll see how you can use this to quickly jump between presets. So yeah, that's pretty cool, but where you can take this a step further. Okay, this one's got 2 kicks triggering. Okay, we'll mute this one. Say you didn't like the kick drum in the kit, you can go to the instrument panel. And again, I've covered this a bit, but you can audition different ones in place by using this pre-listen in place feature. So that can be really handy when you're creating kits from scratch, and you can also use it to browse styles and MIDI, which I'll look at in a little while. Another thing is that this is undockable, so you can undock it right there, and say you're working on mixing a drum track, you can, and you're on one monitor, you can access everything in between and just kind of open and close it when you need it over there. So that's quite cool. What's new in the beat agent, so I'm going to load up a kit here that I created by multi-sampling the Acoustic Agent Studio kit. If I go to my user library here, let's look for Studio. Okay, here we go. So there's going to be a couple things to touch on here that's new in this kit. So what I did was multi-sampled the kit. And the reason I did that is because in version 5 they've added the ability to use the style player in place of the pattern grooves, the MIDI grooves, to trigger beat agent kits. So say I load up like something funk related here. Let's try this one. And we'll move the complexity somewhere around here and we'll loop that through. And it's completely unmixed. We could do some basic mixing. So yeah, that can be pretty cool. And then while we're in this kit, another new feature is I've got 8 layers of multi-sampling mapped to velocity here, but they've upped the velocity layers from 16 to 32 maximum now per pad. So that's pretty cool. While we're, let's load up something from the beat agent library again here. Just open this up. Let's go back to here. And we'll maybe go back to that that TRK-01 kit that we were using. Huh. What's up with that? Oh, I'm in user library. Okay, let's maybe, let's do this one again. Okay, so say we were building a kit from scratch. I mean, this kick drum here is using 2, so we'll mute this one. Say we were doing some drum sound design, you know, the way I would generally do my drum and bass kick is by choosing something. I mean, we can go into the browser here. Let's maybe go through the Battery 4 library, kick drums. I think there was a couple I was messing with earlier that sounded alright doing this. Okay, yeah. So this one here, this one's got quite a nice body to it and just kind of a clicky attack. So I'm going to drag that over onto the kick drum pad, and if you use this middle option here, it replaces the sample. Okay, so we've got that on there. And then I would generally layer that with something with some good a good noise layer, something more acoustic sounding. So I think the one I was using when I was messing with this earlier was this Broken One. So you can drag that, and if you use the top option, it adds it. So now we've got 2 samples on this pad, and they're mapped to velocity currently. But if we change this to layer, it'll layer them together. Now it's going to be, it's distorting. What we want to do here is this one, if you switch this option here, you can switch to selected sample editing rather than just the pad, and we can solo them. So this new feature I want to talk about is the decompose, and it's basically a new way to deal with drum layering sound design. Generally I would have taken the subbier one and kind of taken maybe some of the attack off of it, and then high passed the noisy one and kind of used the attack from that to kind of give it the punch or whatever. And you can do it with fades or envelopes, or EQing, but this gives you a whole new workflow for it, which I think is pretty cool. So with this one soloed, we'll hit apply on decompose, and it'll separate it into a tonal layer and a noise layer. So we can just take off the clicky attack there, and then on the other one we can do the same thing, and then we like that noise layer and that body. We can take out that tonal one, and then we've got those 2 layered together. Let's turn off solo. So yeah, that's a pretty cool way to, pretty cool workflow for drum layering sound design. And you can also independently change the amp envelopes, which brings me to another new feature. They've added the ability to show the waveform of what you're editing with the amp, pitch, filter envelopes, and whatever you do dynamically changes the waveform. So say if we put this on one shot, we can change the envelope, make it shorter, and it'll change the waveform as well. Put solo back on here. If we just wanted a really clicky attack. So yeah, there you go. And you can also do the same with pitch. Say we wanted to, pitch, do the pitch envelope on just on the tonal layer here. Change the envelope amount here. And then hear them both together. So yeah, that's really cool for drum sound design. I'm a big fan of that. And then really the last new feature of the Beat Agent is just new kits. They added a lot of electronic kits to these 2 libraries here. And some of them are made by like drum and bass producers. You got Billain, Current Value, Joe Ford, Rawtekk. And there's quite a lot of variety here. You got 31 in this library, and I think 20 in laser beams. So yeah, like another 50 kits there. Let's have a listen. So yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, you got let's have a look at some of the ones maybe by, you know, Joe Ford. And you can see these aren't actually made for D&B tempo, but you know, the drum hits are still quite usable. You know, I think the other library's better, honestly, this one. So yeah, a bit more choice of kits there and patterns to chop up and edit. So that's cool. The other new feature really is the Acoustic Agent has a whole new acoustic kit, a very powerful one. So let's open up something from that. I don't know. Let's see. How about this one? Takes a long time to load, and I'll show you why in a minute. Takes longer, uses up a lot more RAM as well. And that's because the difference really with this kit is, you know, if we look at the instrument itself, it's kind of similar interface. You get 4 different beaters for the kick. Three articulations for the snare. There's a main one, a muffled one, and a tail one. And then where this is a bit different is instead of the bleed, you have a reverb set in here. So you don't have to set up an auxiliary send. It actually has its own channel. So in the mixer here, it's the same kind of deal. You got groups, double kick and snare mics, a mic for each tom. But in this case, the room isn't like a send, it's actually samples. You can turn it off and it'll unload the samples and save some of your RAM up here. It also has 3 different overhead settings, and then the reverb you can turn on, and that also loads samples. So let's have a little play with it. Turn the room back on here. And let's go to the style player and have a look at what we got. So yeah, this is actually sample based instead of just a send. So yeah, the overhead settings are quite different. Let's maybe go through some of the different styles in the library here. And that brings me on to the other features of this. So what's cool here is in the styles bank, say we wanted to try out slow funk using this kit. So we can just have it playing. And you can actually audition different layers of complexity, or you can go in and audition the fills, different fills. And yeah, it's a bit slow to load every time you do something with this kit. And then they also updated the style player a little bit, so you can, if you turn on autofill here, you can now actually go in and choose which ones you want in there in the bank for it to pull from. So yeah, it'll only cycle those two. And then they also added auto complexity, so you can make the complexity change as well every 4 bars after the fill. So that's pretty cool. And then they also added the ability to sample directly into the into Groove Agent. So if I turn on this guy, this is just a channel that I set up with this free TRK-01 Kick, which Native Instruments gave away for Reactor for Christmas. It's just a drum synth basically, and I've got one MIDI track here triggering one of the kick drums from the library, and you know, if I wanted to record that into Groove Agent, say on this kit, we'll go to the instrument pane, we'll go to the recorder. Now I've got it set up to auto start and finish based on a volume threshold, and to auto trim, this basically is going to move the sample start point to the closest zero crossing before it detects sound, and it's also going to start recording a little bit of silence at the beginning and end of the sample. So if I record enable this, the other thing you need to do is turn on the sidechain, and we're going to, I've got an audio send set up here at 100% to the Groove Agent sidechain, and then all you need to do is record enable, hit play. Oh, what's up with that? Oh, it's muted. Okay, so yeah, there it is. And it's gone in, set the sample start to there. You know, so that's pretty cool. And that, you know, and then going back to this, the other really notable new feature is that they upped the amount of stereo outs you can have from Groove Agent from one instance to 32 stereo outs, and I'm pretty sure the reason they did that is because of this. So I've already touched on this in earlier videos, but you can export the mixer and effects from the macro to Cubase. And then there it is. You've got everything exported to the Cubase mixer there. It's created all of the group tracks, routed everything to the group tracks, and as I will have mentioned in some earlier videos, the only thing that it doesn't port over is the reverb send. Now in this case it's got a reverb. It's got the reverb channel, so it does port it over in this case, but the other ones it doesn't port over auxiliary sends, so you have to create your own. But yeah, that's kind of it. That's all of the new features in one video. I'm a big fan of the decomposing for drum layering, and being able to use the complex drum grooves in the style player with sampled kits is pretty cool. The extra layers of multi-sampling, the extra outputs is handy. Being able to record from other instruments directly to drum pads is super helpful. A bunch of extra libraries. I mean, a whole acoustic kit. So, and then, you know, that kit comes with, I think, another 20 drumming styles as well. So all in all, I think it's worth it for the price if you use all aspects of the instrument. But if you only use it really to trigger drum pads or to chop up break loops in Cubase, yeah, it might not be worth it. So yeah, there it is, guys. That's another video done. I might try and record another one this afternoon, just going over the percussion agent, and I'll put some timestamps in the description for this one for the different new features that I covered. So hopefully that helps out. Alright guys, that's it for another video. I'll see you next time with the percussion agent.